This episode is unforgettable. You're in the Playhouse. Welcome to the Playhouse. I'm Uncle Paul, and it's time for our very special hellos. Oh, White Fang. Thanks. Special hello to Andrew of Parlogram, Nick, the record lover, Matthew Street, Beatley Tone, Dave Sunstrom, Brendan Snyder, Beetle Dave and Beetle Brad, Shauna Eve Lee, Jerome Luby, Safe and Sound Texas Audio Excursion, Johnny P. from Kentucky, Sarah Palmer, also known as Gwen Gooley, Ron Gilday, Rosie and Jerry C., Clifford and Susan, Kelly, first generation fan Mr. Winston O'Boogie. Now, if you'd like a special hello, or you'd like to dedicate a special hello, please leave it in the comments below, and we'll say hello in a future episode. But for now, those are our very special hellos for today. Now, today is a very sentimental episode of the Playhouse. We're definitely going to do it. This is a very sentimental episode of the Playhouse for me. So, it's time to open the storybook. And we're going to be talking about the Beatles Playhouse members. Now, everyone's first concert is something very special to them. And I'm going to be telling the members today how I was very fortunate enough to see all four Beatles separately in concert. And we know some were much harder to see than others because they didn't get to give many performances. But so we're going to show you some memorabilia related to that. Let's go in backwards order. But it's always good to start with Ringo. So I first saw Ringo, though, in a couple years before. I did see the first All-Star Band. I know this is not it, but this is the one where maybe I enjoyed it the most or had the best seats. When Ringo was at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas on September 5th, 1992. And for some reason, I wound up, maybe someone didn't want to go with me. Here's my original ticket stub to the show at 11:30 p.m. It's always fun that, and yes, for that show, it was $55. So anything was a bargain compared to, I know, today, if you want to see any concert, it's a lot of money for people. And here's an unused ticket from the same show. And then I was fortunate enough to beg someone that was working at Caesar's Palace. They all had to wear these buttons. So he performed there from September 4th to the 6th. And of course, I got to see him on the 5th, as this ticket is dated. Well, I was in Las Vegas, just on some vacation. So of course, and I was there purposely, obviously, to see Ringo. So I took some fun pictures. It's always exciting to see advertising for a concert of the Beatles. So yeah, that was a nice billboard. Caesar's Palace is really promoting it. And this is wonderful. The great marquee of Ringo Starr and his all-star band at the Circus Maximus. I really always enjoyed Caesar's Palace, and if you've ever been there, they have the mall, and you can see that the sky in the mall changes. The sky goes from day to night, 24 hours a day. So you can be at the mall at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they have like the sky all with the sun, and then at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it'll get real dark that you think it's the opposite time. And of course, that's not very good for a lot of people that are gambling, because it's very easy to start losing your sense of time. But back to Ringo, because time takes time. And, people know that Ringo Starr song, I'm sure. Right now, of course, because he's performed the most, I didn't get to see Paul McCartney during the mid-70s Wings Over America tour. So yes, I saw Paul McCartney, but in 1989, this is the ticket, actually. So, yes. So this is the first time I got to see Paul McCartney. During the Friends of the Earth tour. And December 15th, 1989. And Madison Square Garden. And that's only $28.50. What a bargain for Mr. McCartney. But the time that I kind of, well, you can never get carried away with the Beatles. But I played my own Fan on the Run and saw Paul many times during the 1993 tour, the New World Tour. And so I got to see Paul. I'm going to give you the fast rundown because I know everyone has their own cherished stories of going to see the Beatles. And so I saw on the Silver Bowl, and we have some memorabilia here from it, on April 14th, that in California. And that would be Las Vegas, I'm sorry. And then he did a show for the Friends of the Earth. It was for Earth Day. And Ringo actually came out on that one. And that was a few days later on April 16th, 1993. And then I saw him the next day at the Anaheim Stadium in California on the 17th. And then in June at Giant Stadium on June 11th and June 13th at Veterans Stadium, which was in Pennsylvania. So my little Fan on the Run excursion, I got to see Paul McCartney in concert 5 times during that period, that month. So we'll show you some fast stuff. So yes, this is from, again, I have an unused ticket for some reason. These are all personally mine. I didn't obtain them on the secondary market. This is the April 14th show. And again, $32.50. Sam Boyd Silver Bowl, which was in Las Vegas. And I took some pictures as well here. So University of Nevada has the nice marquee there of Paul McCartney. This was great. They were promoting Off the Ground at that time. So this was a giant, like more than life-size billboard. And it is a plug right here for the concert, appearing at the Silver Bowl, April 14th. And then, of course, here's the marquee of the night of the concert. And I always took that because, yeah, that's me down there. But that was a lot of fun. All right, so again, we're going in reverse order, as I said. But now, of course, we're going to talk about, due to, of course, life circumstances of their lives ending, but also that we know that John and George just didn't perform that much, especially here in America. We know George went over to Japan. So, yes, the only time really you could see George Harrison, right, was the Dark Horse Tour, besides, of course, Bangladesh, but which I did not get to see. But I first saw George 1974 for the Dark Horse Tour, Madison Square Garden, and my mom was great getting those type of tickets, and with my sister as well, the 3 of us. So this is for, these are all our 3 ticket stubs to see George. It just says 1974 there, because of course they cut them a perforation to let you in. But yes, at a bargain rate, solo concert by George Harrison, full concert, $7.50. Those were the days, my friend. I thought they'd never end, right? All right, so now we're going to get to the most emotional, and I'm being honest with everyone here at the Playhouse. To have the honor of seeing John Lennon as my first concert, and everyone Playhouse members know, I'm talking about the only full solo concert that John ever gave, the benefit at Madison Square Garden called 1 to 1, and it's been getting a lot of due publicity lately, which is nice. There's a documentary out with remastered audio. And again, we're not plugging things, we're just telling you things that are out and what really enjoyable. A new DVD came out called Daytime Revolution. It's a documentary all about the week that John and Yoko co-hosted on the famous Mike Douglas show in February 1972. And I have all the Mike Douglas episodes in their entirety, but this is really a well-crafted best of with some interviews. But as I was watching it, it made me remember, not that I needed to remember, but how much I loved John Lennon. And of course, I'm 9 years old at the time, and it's first at 9 years old at the time to see John Lennon and go to a concert. Again, thank you to my hip mother, who didn't even drive, and of course, even a cheap ticket was, there were different times. So it's come out over the years, all right, but again, we're waiting for a remaster of the total concerts coming out, but there was a matinee and there was an evening performance. Now, we went to the matinee. I can certainly understand that because my mother had to take us on the 166 bus to Madison Square Garden, and I told you she didn't drive. And so yes, we went to the matinee, but that was the one that was always at the time here released, right, on VHS and audio. This is an unauthorized DVD of it. The concert has never been released on DVD. But again, we're about to see all the new restored footage. So this is the matinee, and John even says at the end of the performance of Instant Karma, he says, "Don't worry, we'll get it right next time." Somebody flubbed something in the band. And so then that earmarks right at that point that John knew he would be performing Instant Karma again several hours later. And he actually says at the beginning, "Welcome to the rehearsal." So if you have this version of it, listen for John to say those things. But it's also very thrilling to know that a 9-year-old me is somewhere in the audience. And it's been manufactured over the years. Here's the famous Funko pop vinyls. And this is what John wore, as we just showed you. So he's in his army jacket. Oh, this is a very classic, wonderful time. And again, this is a reproduction of the, I don't even think there were any posters at the time, but we are going to show something extremely rare and special that the Playhouse did obtain on the day of the concert. But I just want to talk about his army jacket again. I was fortunate enough to go to the John Lennon Years exhibition at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Annex. And that was in about 2000. Okay, sorry, Playhouse members. All right, well, write it in the comments, because I know the year is here somewhere. But the point is, I got to see the army jacket because it was on display that he wore during the concert. And I'm sure you've experienced this yourself when you see something in real life that you've only seen in different ways. I could not believe how small John Lennon was in 1972. That army jacket, so tiny. It's like, oh my God, this is the jacket, but it looks like a child's jacket. But obviously this was all sanctioned by Yoko, and we know it was the actual jacket. All right, so here's the ticket stub. Now, this was a benefit concert again. And to refresh, because they're not on the tapes that were released, since it was a benefit concert, it was hosted, because John was very friendly at the time with Geraldo Rivera, who helped him, a local newscaster, but we know now he was a local newscaster in New York City at the time, on Channel 7, Eyewitness News. But now everyone knows Geraldo nationally. But at that point, Geraldo was only known in the New York City metro area. So he hosted it. John Lennon headlined. And you got Roberta Flack, very popular singer of the 70s, had many hits, Killing Me Softly with his song, and another one. And then Stevie Wonder was also on the bill, did a wonderful 35 minutes. And before that, then a group that specialized in oldies that were very popular at the time, Sha Na Na. So those were all the other performers during the one-to-one concert before you saw John and Yoko. So here are 2 of the 3. My sister did go as well, but I think in her archives is her ticket. So here's it's from August, I should say, obviously, a lot of people know, August 30th, 1972. And again, the only full concert that John Lennon gave, certainly in America, and he didn't give any. We know he did the benefit in Toronto, but this was literally the only concert that he ever did full. And we were in the loge, and I remember it perfectly, even though I'm 9 years old. But we had great seats, and it was $10 to see him. A little more. We just said George was $7.50 2 years later. But we can understand why this was $10, because, again, it was a total charity project that John was doing. Now, here comes the last item. My sister, who I said went with us, in those days, there was no really merchandise or anything. Especially, this was a one-day quick benefit concert. But my sister bought a shirt from the concert at Madison Square Garden there. And again, we never brag here at the Playhouse. I'm just amazed that she got this, again, August 30th, 1972. It's the official merchandise. She probably was only paid $5. Yes, my sister was quite small too there. But yes, so it has survived all these years. And we're showing you, I actually found a picture also of her wearing this shirt a few months later. And we're looking at that right now. And yes, this is wonderful. Again, I promise you, you don't see these very often. And the Playhouse treasures that. So that was our first concert experiences here. And I hope you've enjoyed that very much. And for now, the Playhouse is closed. Thanks, Joe Friday.